I played a lot of bass this year on a lot of different basses, both here at home and when I went to NAMM in the spring. But these aren't the best basses that came out this year, they're just the ones that I played. So let's start with the worst ones and then we'll get to the better ones, all right? The year is 1960. Fender is sitting on giant piles of cash because they've just sold one of these things to like every upright bass player in the country and half of every guitar player, and they're about to do it again. Gibson's in the next yard over thinking, well, we should do that. And so they hire a guy who designs cars, and he designs this and calls it the Thunderbird, and it goes on to be a massive failure, and they discontinue the bass after just 6 years. Everything about this bass is designed to look cool, but apparently nobody over at Gibson has ever actually played a bass before, and so they've never bothered to fix any of the balance problems or, just put a decent bridge on these things. This early mid-2000s Epiphone carries on that legacy. It's the same old problems from the same old company. Now, while I can fault it for a lot of things, the one thing that I can't fault it for is the way it sounds. Sometimes this is just the tone you want, and I really wish that Gibson would put this sound in a bass that doesn't suck. Speaking of things that suck in every single way, you guys know how I feel about acoustic basses, right? Well, look at this! Wow. Now, if you're sitting there thinking like, well, it's bigger, so it must be louder, then you would be dead wrong. The company that makes these is called Big Johnson, and there's a lot of jokes that I could make here, but I'm not gonna. You're gonna have to put your own one in. That's what she said. Now, when you're playing these, there's a sound hole that's pointing directly at your ear, and you can still barely hear these things. Like, the guy even brought an amp to help us demo the thing so that you can hear what the piezo pickup sounds like, and that sound is... Look, the electric bass got popular partially because it was way more portable than an upright bass. And as much as I don't like hating on a small builder, these things are just a way worse version of an upright bass. I get that if you want a very specific tone, you're willing to make some concessions on some aspects of the bass. But I just don't have any idea what this is trying to accomplish. Like, I guess there are a lot of players out there who are willing to put up with a lot of nonsense so that their bass doesn't sound like a Fender. But if that's the case, then what the hell was Orange thinking with this? You see this thing and you think, oh, rad. And then you actually get one in your hands and you go, oh no. Like, no one should be putting up with playability and balance this bad for what's basically just a P bass. Like, I have never had less fun playing a bass than this one. Guys, just come here. If you want a P bass tone, just get a P bass. You don't even have to buy a Fender, because by my last count, there are about 50 million Fender P-Bass clones that will all be way better than this thing and won't be an ergonomic disaster. So for all of those reasons, I crown the Orange O-Bass as my absolute worst bass I played this year. Congratulations, Orange, you did it, wow. Hey, remember how I said a little while ago how it would be cool if somebody made a T-Bird but that didn't suck? Well, as it turns out, that exists, and Epiphone makes it. The Embassy is all of the tone and way fewer of the problems. Still need to work on that bridge a little bit though, but that's workable. I had a lot more fun playing these than I thought I would, and if that T-Bird that I picked up hadn't been so cheap, I'd have one of these and it'd be red and it'd be sick. But lest we get caught up in the basses of the past, let's look to the future, and the future is carbon fiber. Now, Close is a company that primarily makes these acoustic guitars out of carbon fiber, and the Apollo is their first attempt at a bass. And it's rare, but sometimes you just get things right on the first try. This thing kicks so much ass, you can send your Jan Michael Vincent to another sector, because we got this one covered.
Is it important that we know who Jan Michael Vincent was in order to get this? Nope.
You see these pickups right here? So good. They're so crystal clear and punchy, but still warm somehow. I don't know what they did in here, but these pickups rule. But not only do they sound awesome, but they play beautifully. They're really light and the neck feels great. Close, if you're watching this, I need another string here. I need a coil tap here, and then baby, you got a stew going. I'll take mine in red. Predictably. But don't worry if you don't know what color you want your next bass to be, because Warrior Basses has you covered. Now, I played a lot of incredible basses at NAMM, but this is the one that was the most memorable to me. This colorful top that you see is a material called Fordite. It's basically just paint runoff that ends up on the ground after they've painted cars. So they cut slices of it, polish it up, and it looks really, really cool. The result is nothing short of stunning, and the details here with the matching pickup covers and the dot inlays, Ooh, and you guys know I'm such a sucker for gold hardware. On top of all that, it was a beautifully crafted instrument that played and sounded just as good as it looks. But with a price tag like that, I'd sure hope so. It's pretty spendy. But you know what? I'm not going to give the bass of the year to this thing because I'm going to let that go to the Sir